This week we celebrated Christ the King Sunday. This makes me ask the question, who do you look up to? A survey of 2,000 Americans found that the people we're most likely to look up to are folks like friends, historical figures, teachers. The most likely role model is a parent. A notable name was missing from the list, Jesus. One of our challenges is to remember that we need to follow Jesus more than other people. Paul writes this letter to the Colossians in part to show you the value of making Christ our role model. Paul wanted them to fix their minds on Christ as King so that they could live a life that's pleasing to God. We bring happiness to God by following Him and doing the work He's called us to do. Paul uses a hymn that the Colossians would have sung in their worship as if to say, if you sing this, why don't you believe what you're singing? The hymn sings that they have seen the very image of an invisible God because they have seen Jesus. Through Jesus' work in the world and on the cross, humans can now experience the fullness of God. We can flourish as human beings. This scripture is teaching us that Jesus is our King, our model for how to bring God's redeeming work to the world. An article in Psychology Today shows that getting the most out of a role model includes paying attention to them and then doing what they do. Most people can usually agree that Jesus is the best role model to have. From his faith, perseverance, generosity, people see the best qualities that we as human beings possess. I want to share some characteristics that Jesus has that if we pay attention to, we can make a step closer to living more like him. Empathy is a characteristic of Jesus that our culture struggles with. Do you remember the story of the woman who was caught in adultery? She was brought to Jesus. He showed empathy by understanding this woman and sharing her pain, her hurt, her shame, and humiliation. Instead of judging her harshly, he extended love and mercy. When we express empathy to others, we're allowing the nature of God to move people from despair to joy. Another characteristic that we need to pay attention to is truth. The truth has become more our perspective of things than what's actually true. You know, what I mean by that is that if it doesn't meet our own agenda, then it's okay to be dishonest. It's even celebrated. Jesus spoke the truth without fear of repercussions. He's concerned with sharing his message, not winning a personal agenda. Whether or not it's to his advantage or even if it means he'll lose supporters. He speaks the truth because the truth undiluted is what sets us free. Paying attention to Jesus isn't enough. We also need to do the things that he did. To follow Jesus, we need to serve. We say the words worship, serve, and grow a lot around here at Asbury. We say this because if we do these three things, it can help us follow Jesus. In the Gospel of John, we read how Jesus washed his disciples' feet. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the beginning and the end did an unlikely thing. He served. Sometimes the people we need to serve are not out there somewhere, but they are right in front of us. They're our families, our in-laws, our parents, our cousins, our extended family, our friends, our church community. Lastly, to follow Jesus, we need to love everyone, not just the people we like. If you don't think it's possible to love those you don't like, just think about the Thanksgiving table. If Christ is our ultimate King, our role model, then we don't have the luxury to exclude people because we don't like or agree with them. My hope for all of us is that we will make Christ our role model so that we can be a part of bringing God's redeeming work to the world.